Coming your way on Philadelphia Eagles now, Robert Quinn injury update. Also, is Odell Beckham Jr. not going to sign with the Dallas Cowboys because Dallas has concerns about that ACL and whether or not OBJ will be able to play at all this year, including in the playoffs. So we begin with Robert Quinn, going to get a knee scope. He's going to go on IR, which means he's going to miss at least the next 4 weeks. Tom Pelissero with this on the Eagles edge rusher, who they traded for back several weeks ago in that deal with the Chicago Bears in a trade for Howie Roseman that's been a flop because Robert Quinn has barely done anything in his stint in the city of brotherly love. So having a knee scope this week, goes on IR today, popped up on the injury report late last week. That's why he was unable to play against the Tennessee Titans. And I think this is just classic agent speak that Tom Pelissero got from Robert Quinn's agent, because he says this: Quinn had been coming on and settling into the defensive scheme before the knee got twisted in practice last week. Now he's out at least 4 games, but there's optimism that he'll be back for a playoff push. He had been coming on because Robert Quinn was barely doing anything, and if he was mastering this scheme, he would have gotten more reps. But he's barely played at all during his time in Philadelphia. And while they've gotten nothing from Robert Quinn, thankfully this defensive line has still been able to generate pressure and be one of the best defensive lines in the NFL, especially against Tennessee and Ryan Tannehill. 6 sacks on the day in that game against the Titans as Ryan Tannehill was consistently under siege. And I have concerns about the depth at the edge rusher spot. And that's why I thought it was valuable to try to bring in a piece like Robert Quinn or another edge rusher out there. And if an injury were to happen to a Josh Sweat, a Brandon Graham, that's when you have some concerns with Robert Quinn being out. But at least the starters and some of the depth pieces as well playing well. Josh Sweat, Javon Hargrave, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, all tallying sacks against Tennessee. But going back to that original point, and why I thought what Pelissero said was just baloney, is because Quinn has barely been playing and had been barely playing for Philadelphia in Jonathan Gannon's scheme, which I guess to some people can be somewhat complex across the NFL. But he had 20 snaps against Pittsburgh in his debut. That was 26% of the snap total. Against the Texans, only had 7. Played 12% of snaps. Against the Commanders, only played 27% of snaps, 22 snaps in total. Against the Colts, he was only on the field for 10 snaps because Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph were able to get signed on a Wednesday and a Thursday and still contribute more than Robert Quinn. And then against the Packers, the last game that he played because he was absent because of that injury against Tennessee, only registered 11 plays, 22% of the total snaps for Philadelphia. And you look at what he's been able to do with Philly, well, it's basically what he hasn't done for the Philadelphia Eagles. 0 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, 0 tackles for loss, and 2 tackles. We knew coming in that this guy was older, but still, he had 18.5 sacks last year with the Chicago Bears. But he has had, in the latter portion of his career, as he's entered the back nine, kind of a Jekyll and Hyde career. He has one big year, then he's silent, then he comes back and has another monster year, and for him, he's kind of on that trend right now. Last year, he was terrific in terms of his sack totals. Couldn't really master the scheme for Matt Eberflus, the new coach for Chicago, who is the former defensive coordinator in Indianapolis, worked a little bit with Nick Sirianni, and then Quinn gets traded out of Chicago, comes to Philadelphia, and hasn't been able to really lock down Jonathan Gannon's scheme either. And is this a bad trade for Howie Roseman? I applauded it at the time. I said, look, Robert Quinn isn't going to be asked to play a lot of snaps. He's going to be a backup, and if he gives you a sack here and there, that's a victory. You gave up a 4th-round pick for Robert Quinn, but the Eagles still have a lot of draft picks at their disposal as well. So a bad trade, yes, because Howie Roseman hasn't gotten any production from Robert Quinn. But I was willing to take the risk at the time to put your poker chips in the middle of the table to try to chase another Super Bowl. So what do you think? Was it a bad trade for Howie? Want to hear from you in the comment section. B for bad, W for whatever. Just let me know down in the comment section. Like I said, they haven't gotten anything, but I was willing to take that risk. And with the Eagles draft picks in the 2023 draft class, still have that 1st-rounder. That pick from the Saints right now would be top 5 following their loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. You still have a second and third round pick, but yeah, you don't have any middle round selections, and sometimes those are players who can come in right away to either start or be a valuable backup, and then in the long haul, they can end up being impact players. So that's where the Eagles are missing with this upcoming draft. Then they have that 7th round pick from the Minnesota Vikings. Make sure you subscribe to Philadelphia Eagles Now for daily content on the Birds from a guy who absolutely loves this football team just like you. Informative, entertaining content. That's really what I pride myself on, trying to make this the best Eagles channel on YouTube. I believe it's already there, but for those of you who are doubting us, let's prove the detractors wrong. Subscribe to the channel to make them realize this is the go-to spot for all things Eagles year-round, with videos coming your way for free every single day. We're shooting for 40,000 subscribers by the end of the regular season. Today's show is presented by Rocket Money. This is an app and a service that I have found to be extremely valuable because I've been able to cancel unnecessary subscriptions and keep track of my expenses with Rocket Money. And you can download the app now and take control of your spending at rocketmoney.com/Eagles now. Are you wasting money on subscriptions? Because nowadays we all have so many. 80% of people who have subscriptions, they forget about them. Maybe for you, it's an unused Amazon Prime account or a Hulu account that never gets streamed. There's this great app I use that helps me track all of my expenses, and it's Rocket Money. And because of it, I no longer waste money on subscriptions that I don't even use. The app shows all of your subscriptions in one place, then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't even know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for a subscription. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel on the Rocket Money app, and it takes care of it. So get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Download the app. I promise you, it'll save your life and help you save some money. rocketmoney.com/Eagles now. We'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. Make sure, though, you use the link, rocketmoney.com/Eagles now, so that they know that Chat Sports sent you. All right, now let's pivot and shift gears to a couple of storylines across the NFL. It's been very active here on Tuesday afternoon. We start with Baker Mayfield. He was released and cut yesterday by the Carolina Panthers, and I had the expectation that he was going to get claimed on waivers because of his pedigree, what he's been able to show in his NFL career. Former number 1 pick who in 2020 did play well and helped the Browns win their first playoff game since the early 1990s when Bill Belichick was the head coach. Well, he has been claimed. And he's been claimed by the Los Angeles Rams. Scheduled to fly to Los Angeles this afternoon on Tuesday. Obviously, Tom Pelissero said he won't be ready to play Thursday night against the Raiders, but his work with Sean McVay starts immediately. What's interesting here, though, is that Adam Schefter reported and then doubled down the fact that Baker Mayfield has a chance to play on Thursday night against the Las Vegas Raiders. That would be interesting. The Rams are an awful football team, and they've had a quarterback carousel with Matthew Stafford hurt. And then we round out with this. All of the indications that we have gotten are that Odell Beckham Jr. is going to sign with the Dallas Cowboys. He was at the Mavericks game last night with Trevon Diggs as well as Micah Parsons, and he was asked by Tim McMahon, a Mavericks reporter, what the chances were that he would sign with the Dallas Cowboys, and he said pretty good. This throws a little bit of a wrench into those plans potentially. Ed Werder, ESPN, saying here on Tuesday, the Cowboys have concerns after Odell Beckham Jr.'s physical showed that his recovery from a torn left ACL suffered in the Super Bowl last year has not progressed enough to ensure that he would play before mid-January, and the possibility exists signing him would have no benefit until the 2023 season. So the Cowboys, they got Michael Gallup back. CD Lamb is really good. Dalton Schultz, a good tight end. Ezekiel Elliott has looked solid, even though I still think Tony Pollard is the better back. Dak Prescott has played pretty well, but going into this past week, he had a touchdown-interception ratio of 10-6, which really is just wild considering the money he's being paid and how we think about Dak Prescott. And that offense has been better, albeit it's come against some weak opponents out there. And the feeling for Dallas was, okay, we could use another offensive weapon. And while OBJ might not be ready until the last month, last couple of weeks leading up to the playoffs, now he might not be ready at all because they have concerns with this physical. And if this is the case, does OBJ say, you don't have trust in me, in my knee? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to a different team. How about a reunion with the New York Giants, because I know they need a wide receiver a lot more than you do. Interesting nonetheless. We'll continue to monitor this here on Philadelphia Eagles Now, because obviously it has huge divisional implications. How about them Cowboys? This is peak Dallas here. If OBJ was rumored to go there, it looked to be a sure thing, and then it ends up not happening. Type F Dallas because, well, it's always the motto. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, thanks for your support here on Eagles Now.